Welcome to the Eschatology Podcast, brought to you by Resonix. Visit ResonixSoundSolutions.com for the best ways to free your car, motorcycle, house, or spaceship from resonance with Resonix. And many thanks to Resonix for making this podcast a reality. Today's interview is a little outside our norm, as it's more industry-focused and less about competition, as we share our interview with Dean Beyett of 5 Star Car Stereo, both the retailer and the YouTube channel. So here we go. Hi, I'm here with Ben and Dean Beyett. Hello, guys.
Hey.
What's up, Cliff? Howdy, Dean.
You have, 30 plus?
33. Yeah, 33
years.
right now.
All right.
Yeah. I made it easy. I started in 1990.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say you started when you were 10.
No.
I was 10,
No.
but yeah.
Yeah.
You should have just rolled with it.
Well, it was fresh out of high school. Yeah, fresh out of high school, but it was a part-time job. I needed something to do on the weekends.
Right.
So I guess let's start there. What got you into car audio in the first place?
You know, plus the bet.
No, hold on. First of all, take us back. What year are we talking? Just so everybody has an idea of time period.
So it probably like 88.
Okay.
Okay.
88
So late
would be
80s.
the year.
Okay.
Just to date.
So Michael Jackson was all the jam.
He was the Thriller, but actually in 88, you're thinking like NWA was
AC/DC.
Believe it or not, I listen to them a lot now, but not back then, because back then that was all rap. That was rap and bass, and that was all that I was interested in.
Right.
That's
Pulling
the
into
car audio, right?
Yeah, because pulling into the school parking lot
Right.
at 6:00 in the morning, just letting it hammer, pissing off
Nice.
everybody. But no, it was one of those things. Got my first car, made a bunch of bad life choices on equipment. Just anything I could afford to throw in there. The first box we built, my buddy's dad worked for Procter and Gamble, and he had a bunch of cardboard, and I had a desk. And so we took the desk and we destroyed it, and then between the cardboard and the desk, we made a speaker box for a set of 10s.
Nice.
Jet sound electronic 10s. And yeah, it's a total nightmare, but we didn't care. We didn't know any different. We didn't know like that. It meant nothing. So you had that and a set of Peerless Tweeters off a Sony Walkman laying on the floor in my 1980 Dodge Omni.
Nice. The
Oh, it was
Omni.
totally rocking. Yeah.
And obviously that was the first step, right? Where'd you go from there?
So I bought a Renault Encore. Some of you guys may know what that is. A lot of people don't. And that was the start of Let's Go Crazy. I found a car stereo shop that I later worked for called AVE Car Stereo. And, they were the discount place and I was broke. So we were like, yeah, we're going to do this. And they were a Orion dealer. And so that was like introduced me to the first, brand, so to speak, because back then it was like you were the Rockford, PPI, Orion, Soundstream. You had all the classic brands,
Right.
and they were an Orion dealer. So I fell in love with Orion, and it was like that was it. And it was just a quest to build the car. It was one of those things where, you build a new system every other weekend.
Right.
Like this didn't work. All right, let's try building this box, or like I remember the first set of 6.5s I got. I just cut a hole in my door and didn't realize there might be something behind there.
Right.
So then my windows didn't roll down because I cut the track.
Right.
So in today's world, we call that failing fast.
Yeah. So I failed real fast. Learned a lot. I did it right though. I learned a lot on my own vehicle. So it was one of those things where it's like I was screwing up my stuff, not screwing up somebody else's stuff. And then the shop I was going to, they had a mishap with the law of the installer and the sales guy, and they both got arrested. So the owner was like, I need people. And a buddy of mine that I went to school with that now works for Amp Global, a guy by the name of Nathan Winsek. We went to high school together, and he called me up and he goes, "Bro, you're not going to believe this." And I was like, "What?" He goes, "I got a job." And I go, "First for everything?" He goes, "No.
You're right. I don't believe it.
Yeah, I was totally shocked because he was one of those guys. I got $20 in my pocket, bro. I am good.
Right.
And he's like, "No, I got a job at AVE. You got to come up here." And so then I spent the next like 3 or 4 months going up there helping him on his epic build that he was, he's like, I'm going to build my car now. He had a Bonneville, and we built a wall with 8 XTR 15s and 2 Beasts and like way more than this car could physically hold.
Right.
Because it was, so I think it was in there for maybe a couple months tops. And we almost got killed because we went to a base competition in the ghetto. And like so like the undercover cops were like, hey, listen, they're gonna rob you guys and kill you. So we're gonna we got cars coming to escort you guys out to Tampa.
Wow.
And it was like,
wow,
okay,
that's intense.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Yeah, well, 2 dumb white boys in the hood going, our shit's loud, bro.
So I guess I understand better the progression of how SPL went down the road it did, but
yeah, exactly.
It had honest roots.
Yeah, it did. With that, I got a job. He offered me a job because the owner didn't like working Saturdays, and he was like, I need somebody to work Saturdays. And at the time, I was going to night school and working for Procter & Gamble. I went to work for my buddy's dad. And it was like, yeah, sure, I can do it, because that was only like 3 days a week and then school at night. And I was like, I don't need sleep. That's for, wimps. And not much has changed in that in my life.
Right.
But it was like, so I got the job on Saturday, and he was like, just sales. And I said, cool. And he goes, but you can come in anytime you want and sell anything, and you'll just get paid. And I was like, okay, cool. So I didn't take a paycheck for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Because I just bought stuff. It was like,
I see.
I get free car stereo equipment for just going up to people and talking to them?
Right.
This is like the best thing ever.
Right? Huh.
Yeah.
So you got hooked on your own supply.
Oh, totally, dude. Totally. I mean, when I finally had to take a paycheck, it was weird. It was like, take a paycheck. Yeah, he was like, you get a paycheck this week. And I was like, why? Because you don't owe me any more money. And I was like, really? Huh.
I might have to buy something.
Yeah. So that last build that went to the big build of the day. So the Renault finally I had like the 2125. So this is all Orion stuff. 2125, a 250, 3 222s, a bunch of Morel speakers. Their electronic crossovers that they had back then. The 200, the CRX 200 and 300, and 110 in a band pass. All acrylic and carpet and vinyl and Formica and custom door panels. Each door had a giant Morel tweeter, mid-range, and 2 mid-bass, and there was like Audax tweeters jammed all up in the air vents and the dash, because who knew what center was? We just wanted sound somewhere, It's just coming from the car.
And about what year was this?
That would have been like 93.
Okay.
1993.
Okay.
And I know that because I only got to keep it in there for about 4 months before the car died finally.
Oh, no.
And I was like, figures. So I had to take it all out, sell it. And I bought a 1993 Mitsubishi Eclipse.
Oh, nice.
Ooh,
and went with a much smaller stereo in that. All Morel, but at the time, Orion had just came out with their GT series amplifiers.
Okay.
That was these little tiny weird things. They make a 220, a 420, and a 620. Mm-hmm. And they made no sense. And it was just weird. And it was like their first dive into multi-channel amplifiers, and they just didn't know how to do it. Mm-hmm. But I didn't care because they were small and cute. And so I bought the 4-channel and the 6-channel, flipped them upside down, put them under acrylic, and made 2 8s in a band pass. Face, just all acrylic and vinyl, and put it in the back of the Eclipse. And then I was like, okay, cool. So then I just rocked that for a while until Macintosh got on the scene. And then it was like, all this stuff has to come out because move over, Bacon. It's time for something leaner.
So what was your most memorable system?
Honestly, that first big XTR, Morel system was definitely because that was the culmination of years and years of like between high school and getting a job, and just that was the big dream system that it's like, that was like the I'm here system.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever built a system like that for myself since then, which is kind of sad. But
because you're busy installing everybody else's systems the whole time.
Well, yeah. I mean, so once I started working there, we found out like Kenwood had a really awesome employee purchase program. Like it was sick. like it was like so sick. And I was like, yeah, give me all that. And so I just bought, like big amps. I had a single cab Dodge Ram. It was like 410s, 2 of their big mono blocks. I took a 4-channel and bridged it on their 7x10s. Mm-hmm. Just a ton of freaking power. It was like 250 watts going to 7x10s in the front door. It was just dumb. And yeah, it was great because it was like the last boom system I ever had. And I would just roll up at stoplights and little kids would be playing, and I'd just like, whoa, and be like, yeah. Yeah.
Did car audio like that get chicks back in the day?
So, funny story.
Okay.
The answer is supposed to be no. However, right. A buddy of mine was like, hey man, let's go hang out at this girl's friend, this house with girlfriend's friend, blah, blah, blah. You might like her. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. So we go over to this girl's house, start playing pool. And she's like, what do you do? And I was like, I'm in a car stereo and all this nonsense. And she's like, oh, it's one of those loud cars. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And she's like, well, you want to go on a date? And I was like, sure, let's go on a date. So we went on a date, and then
she asked you out.
Yeah. Because I think it was one of those weird things where it was just weird. Okay.
Okay. All right.
So we go on a date, and then we end up on the causeway, and we're chatting, and she's like, she immediately finds the CD case. And she's just like, oh gosh, play this song. Oh gosh, play this song. And so for the next like 45 minutes, we're just playing songs. And I'm just getting kind of annoyed because I was like, because the date,
this isn't what we're supposed to be doing.
No, well, there's that, but she's really going, this is so stupid. And now she's just all up in it. And I was like,
right.
This is kind of so luckily we had these things called pagers back then.
Right.
Okay. And mine started blowing up, and I was like, oh man, I gotta go. I gotta do a thing.
Get this chick out of my car. Oh, she likes music. God damn it.
Just annoying. Oh, for sure. Totally. But
all right.
That was really that only experience where it was like,
You should have married her. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think Car Stereo got more dudes than anything else.
Well, as it does today.
Yeah,
right?
Totally.
But they still put the models on the cars and the pictures and the magazines and such. Like,
do they?
And even like, especially in Asia, I saw all these Asian models.
Sure. Yeah,
like half naked, mostly naked chicks sitting there on the like speakers and stuff. And like,
dude,
that doesn't happen.
I think they superimpose most of those in now. Like that's all Photoshop.
Well, and it's very socially unacceptable here in the U.S. But when we were at SEMA, there was an Asian like product thing going on, and they had all their movies and stuff playing, and it was all half naked women. And I'm going, and Fernando and I were just kind of looking at it going,
is this real life?
What is this? Like, this is so weird. I mean, something's not right here. Does this guy know where he's at? Like, he's going to get canceled just for his ad.
Now we're stuck with the Tom Myers wearing crop tops that say Blaupunk.
Yeah.
That's as good as we get.
Yeah, well, and that's not all that great. So most people probably know you from your YouTube 5-star Car Stereo, but you've been there over a decade right now.
Yeah, it's like 10, 11 years, 11 or 12. We were trying to figure it out the other day, and I was just like, I just don't care.
So what was your progression to there? I mean, that was just another installing job or more?
Well, it was I like to call it my first divorce.
Okay.
So I started AV in 1990, and I worked there for 21 years, I think is what it ended up being by the time I left. And I did everything. I started out sales, janitor, manager. And in the end, it was like the install bay was mine. It was just like in literally every transition. And I did custom fab back then, which I'm not known for because I don't do anymore because I just got so... Most people are excited about it. I just got burned out just from the deadlines and like, ugh. So anyways,
I get it.
In 2007, when the economy took like a turn to...
Right.
The owner of the store was fulfilling one of his lifelong dreams at the time. He wanted to coach high school football, which I was totally supportive of. I think it's like, do it. instead of realizing like that was all encompassing for his life. And so when he came back in and if you remember 2007, it was like a switch. It was like good, bad.
Yeah.
You know? And so our business just tanked and he blamed it all on me. I was like, really? I was like, yeah, you just, you're doing it wrong. You know, you're not helping people, blah, blah, blah. I was like, you're not even here, dude. There's no one coming in. It's like a ghost town. You know, we're just sitting around doing this.
Right.
So then the second one happened, whenever that was 13, 12, I don't remember. And it got to the point where it's just the owner and myself. And we had a guy that would come work on Saturdays. And I was working 6 days a week. And there was one of those moments where it just went bad, like immediately. I needed to get a day off to go to something for my daughter that she was doing. And he was like, well, we're just going to close the store. And I was like,
why would you?
Yeah. I was like, it's a Saturday. Just come in and work. I'm not working. I'm like, it's your business.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. When I care more than you do, that's a problem.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that was kind of one of those moments. And then what kind of screwed me even more is he didn't pay me for the day, even though I still had all my vacation time.
Oh man.
And I was like, oh, so this is how this is going to go down. So it was like, it doesn't matter that we've been together for 20 years. You're going to douche me at the end. So, Paul, who owns 5 Star, it just moved down from Ohio. And for those of you guys that might a lot of you guys actually know who Paul is because Paul and his brother started American Base.
Okay.
Paul, what's the last name?
Ahuja. So Bob, American Base Bob is Paul's brother. Okay. Anyways, they were up in Ohio and he was selling 5 Star was the retail side of things in the mall, and American Base they're not associated with each other at all anymore, but the mall closed and he says, I'm going to retire in Florida like everyone says they're going to do. And he moved down here, and after about 4 months, he opened a retail store and started selling stuff because he was bored.
Right.
Yeah, retired. Right.
Yeah. And he had another company that was doing installs for him. And that wasn't working out. And so he decided he was going to open his own install bay. And my Saturday guy came to me and said, hey man, you go talk to Paul, go work there. And at the time I was just over it. So I was like, sure, whatever. I don't care. I got to get out of here because this is slowly killing me. So I went over there and he's like, yeah, come on, you do this. And sure. Sounds great. And I was like, I really want to work less. I really want to work less. Right. Yeah. Sure. It was all a lie. It was all a lie. But at that time I didn't care. I just wanted to get out of, and that was an interesting 3-month notice. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Okay.
Or 2-week notice. Yeah. 2 week notice. That was very, very interesting 2 weeks notice. Like we didn't talk to each other for 2 weeks. And then the last thing he said to me when I walked out the door is, at least you get to leave.
Wow.
And I was like, you own this place, you dumbass. like, come on, man.
What do you want me to do for you here?
Yeah, why are you
throwing severance?
The guilt on me? And he didn't even want to let me go. He actually called Paul and said, hey, can I keep him for another couple of weeks? And Paul's like, this is weird.
Right.
And luckily, like the last 3 days I was there, a friend of mine walked in and he's like, you're leaving? I go, yeah. And he goes, well, who's going to work for him? I go, you are. He goes, do you think he'd hire me? And I said, yes.
He will hire anybody that moves right now.
Yes, he will hire you. And sure enough, he did. And I was like, okay, cool, bye.
Right.
And yeah, that was, it was good. It was comical for me. It made me feel really bad though, because it was one of those things where I put a lot of effort into building that.
Sure. Yeah.
And marketing it and getting it to where it needed to be. But the nice thing was that's where I learned a lot of what we do now, as far as promoting ourselves and all this other stuff. I learned it all from there.
Okay.
And just having the freedom to do it. And so when it came to 5 Star, it was like, I didn't necessarily want to go back down that road. I just wanted to have my space, do my stuff, stay under the radar, and not get into it like I did there, because I was still kind of like this sucked, because I thought that this, that was one of those things where this is going to be mine one day, yeah.
Right. And then you have to walk out of it.
Yeah. And then it's like, here's the divorce papers. I'm out of here.
Right.
Bye. Mm. So
when you came to 5-star, were you mainly, it sounds like
just install?
You were handling more of the install, and then somebody else was handling sales. And
so Paul's the sales guy. Okay. So he handles all the sales and stuff like that. He did. He tried.
Okay. All right.
Okay. He knows his lane for the most part. And it's like, as soon as somebody comes over and says something complicated, then it's like he walks over and says, "Hey, I need you to come talk to this guy."
Right.
So I get credited for being the most
versatile employee.
I'm the sales guy, but I'm not the sales guy.
All right.
So we do a good cop, bad cop, because
technical closer.
Well, I don't want to talk about pricing. I don't want to have that conversation with people. It's very not my thing. I don't want to, but I mean, I know what things cost, but I don't want to sit there and haggle with you. I don't want to negotiate. I don't want to do any of that crap. That's not where the fun is for me. Mm-hmm. And I've been doing it long enough to where I can go, this isn't fun. I don't want to do this anymore. And I just turn around and walk out. And it's like, where's he going? I'm like, this is stupid.
He's over this part.
Yeah, I'm over this part. So what we'll do is, so anyways, yes, I went there to do installation. So when I got there, it was a lawyer's office. So there was like a waiting room up front, and then there was just walls with nothing else. Yeah. And they put a carport, a sliding roll down door in the back with a car ramp that was way too short, and we couldn't get a car in. And it was funny because like the first day, he's so excited. He's like, "Dude, I got a big job today." And I was like, "Awesome. What do you got?" He's like, "I got this full Alpine install. It's like all high-end stuff." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Oh, it's all R-Type." And I was like, Okay. High-end stuff. We need to talk.
Right. We can do better.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, there's so much more out there that you're not looking at. What are you talking about? And I was like, we'll get to that. Let's get through today.
And so, Harry, this is high end.
Yeah. So the only thing I had in this install bay was they left like the printer roll around cart there. And I had that, and I had, some tools, and it was like, all right, go to work.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I thought I was going to have like a couple days to maybe build a workbench or something, but nope.
Here you go. Here's a card.
Nope,
Here's your card. Go.
Yeah. Go to town. And I was like, oh, okay.
So I think it's your position now in the industry, or at least as I have known you over the years. I mean, I admire a lot about you, and of course it's different from the outside, right? But from the outside, for somebody who has more of this social notoriety now and those kinds of things, it seems like you have done a good job of, keeping your personal life in your lane. You keep your runs going and your physical fitness going, and you're even though you do travel for various events and stuff, you for the most part are still doing your thing in the install bay, for a very long time. And I think it's, what got you to go from the kind of person that I think you are in that regard. You're not somebody who is going out there showing people how to do big flashy builds or showing off. I mean, you're not a, and I mean it in the most respectful way possible. You're not a flashy guy. How do you go from that to working in the back of an install bay to deciding to put out a YouTube channel that now has hundreds of thousands of subscribers and everything else? I mean, how did that go?
Yeah. I wish there was an easy answer for that. No, it was funny because there again, when I was at AVE, Facebook and MySpace were just becoming a thing. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those things where it was like, we need to be on this platform. And at the time, I'm an Apple guy. And at the time, Apple had an app called iWeb. So it allowed you to build your own website. And I got into building my own website and changing it all the time and doing all kinds of fun stuff like that. And creating things to go onto the website. I've always been an amateur photographer.
Okay.
And so I knew my way around cameras. And so at the time when we were looking at it, it was like there wasn't the technology we needed to be where I wanted to be at. And we'd made a couple little videos, and an iMovie, and it was like, 10 days worth of editing to get 30 seconds worth of video.
Yep, been there.
Yeah. And, the 3G finally came out, the iPhone 3G, and it was like, you saw the writing was on the wall where this was going. And then Canon came out with I think it was called a 40D. And it had live view on the sensor where you could actually see the sensor in real time. So it was like, they followed that up with the 5D Mark I, which some guy went out and made this, I think it was called Reverie, which was this amazing video shot with a full frame sensor and a DSLR. It was like that moment, everything changed. And it was like, holy crap, we're moments away from creating amazing videos in the palms of our hand that aren't going to be crappy cell phone videos.
Yeah.
But we were still living in like, we can't do this yet. And so even though I wanted to be there, and I just put it on the back burner, and we just we were just like playing on Facebook and playing on that. And then when the whole thing went south, I just kind of forgot about it. And, Paul needed a website, and there wasn't anything happening there. And I was like, all right, I'll just make something real quick. And then like all things Apple does, it just wakes up one morning and says, oh, we're not going to support that anymore. And you're like, oh, well, I guess I don't want to do that.
Right.
Yeah. So, but there again, it was replaced by other things that are now much better that you can just subscribe to. And they have awesome website builders and stuff like Squarespace and Wix and stuff like that. But where all that was leading was to, we're to that point. Like I had updated my cameras and I could shoot video, and the phones were getting so much better. And, I was sitting there and I was going, what about this? Because at the time I looked at his advertising platform and what he was doing, and it was very basic, and it wasn't really getting us the traffic that I wanted. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, there has to be a better way to do this. So we started doing our unboxings and stuff like that. And I was cool with that. And, we were doing Spanish and English stuff like that, which we had to stop doing Spanish because the world was not ready for that. This is the easiest way to say it. They like either a Spanish video or an English video. They don't like a mixture. Okay. That angers people. We found that out. So we had, it was not fun though. We literally had to stop doing that because there was some really inappropriate stuff that we got from it. And it was like, this is sad. So, and it, it's not Fernando's fault. I'm not going to put any heat on him because it was like, but I was afraid something happening to him because we were getting some really rude comments. And it was like, this is stupid. So anyways, aside from all that, we were trucking along with just doing unboxings, and it was really cool, and we were having fun, and it was neat. We used to sit there and go, man, one of these days we'll have a bunch of subscribers, and we'll go on these trips and go. And Fernando, this was Fernando. He's like, this is gonna be something. I'm like, we're never gonna do that, bro. We're just gonna unbox stuff. So, anyways, he was new when I hired him. He was green, like he knew nothing. He was what everyone is looking for right now in the industry. They want somebody that has a passion, has some talent, but doesn't know what they're doing and is willing to learn and listen and do it. Yeah. So I got real lucky finding him, because at that point I was just overtraining people because I had done that for years at AVE, and it was like, smokers, and if you smoke, it's fine, but when it's really aggravating when you're trying to explain something, then they get all stressed out and like, I go outside and smoke a cigarette. And you're like,
we just started 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, let me know when you're back and we'll finish this up. I'm going to go stand over here and do my work.
Right.
No shade there. It's just how it happened. Anyways, so he was always like, dude, we should do install-based stuff. And I was like, I don't want to do install-based stuff because I don't want we don't do anything special. And he's like, but we should still do install-based stuff because there's nobody doing it like this. And he's like, and he would just hounding me. And I was like, I don't want, like you said, we don't do anything grandiose. At least I didn't think we did. I'm not over there, building these amazing A-pillars, and I didn't want to. I was over that. I didn't want to do that anymore in my career. And so anyways, he took a day off, and I was like, all right, you know what? We got all this camera gear. Let's film something. Let me film something just to figure out how it could be done. Because Soundman was doing stuff, and Steve Mead was doing stuff, and Mark was doing his thing, but nobody was doing it on a professional basis, because even Soundman was doing it as like his style, which is, it's entertainment and it's funny, and it's not about the build, so to speak. It's just about, you're going on this journey with me and we're going to have some fun.
And 9 months later, I might finish part of this build. It's not doing it, it's not kicking out a regular style install of what actually happens in a car audio store, because that's not what it does.
No, we have clients and we have customers, I should say. We have customers, and these cars have due dates, and we got to get this stuff out the door. So, the idea was, what would this look like if we were to film it, and how would that scale, and how would we be able to weave in and out of this, and what kind of gear would we need, and what is it going to look like? And so I filmed a simple, making a door panel for a speaker panel for like a Lexus or some silly thing like that, and just kind of talked everyone through, the techniques that we were going to use, and working it on the router and foaming the backside and all the basic stuff that we do. At least that's how it seemed. And, I edited it up and I threw it out there. I never told him until it went up, and he's like, dude, when the hell did you do that? It was like the other day when you were out, sick or whatever, took the day off. And he's like, oh my God, we got to do more of these. And so, I like to say it was just an experiment in how I could spend a bunch of money. Because
success.
We went out and we bought a ton of stuff that was all wrong.
Trying to make films
camera gear.
Buying
camera gear is never wrong.
We all like spending money on the stuff that is way different from what we actually need to get the job done.
Well, okay, on our level now it's ridiculous, but off topic, I just bought so we're switching all our camera gear over right now. We used M bodies, Canon we shoot Canon. I'm a Canon guy, so we shoot Canon. So Canon made M bodies, which were great because they're interchangeable lenses and they're super affordable. I recommend them to anybody, but then they decided that they're going to start discontinuing the M body. What I like about it,
pick up myself.
What's that?
I've got 2 M bodies. I'm stuck with myself.
Yeah. So, you could get them reasonably priced. You could buy every single lens they make for under $3,000.
Right.
I think we have 2 copies.
Work great, especially for video.
Oh yeah, that's what we need them for, and that's they suck for taking pictures, but they are great for making videos.
Yes.
And so we use those, and we have some like regular DSLRs. We have a couple 80Ds, and then like an SL1 and a 7 and some other stuff. But now everything is switching to the R body. So we've like, okay, they just came out with the R6 Mark II and an R8. There'll be a new R5 probably by the end of the year, first part of next year. So
mirrorless.
Yeah,
I haven't seen current. Okay.
Yeah, so they're all mirrorless, full frame.
Right.
So it was like, okay, let's make the jump. So this year it was like, all right, we're gonna buy all new camera bodies. So slowly but surely,
lenses carry forward.
No,
even with
the
adapter.
They're all APS-C, so you got to switch over.
No, they're full frame.
So,
they're full frame.
No, I meant the M body.
Oh yeah, the M are all C's. Yeah, in a different camera mount. No, it's to buy all new lenses, all new everything. So like I just got
one. Are a lot more expensive.
Right.
Oh yeah. Oh no, trust me. Yeah, it is. Like we started out small. We started like a 6 and an 8, and I knew we needed 2 8s, probably another 6, but yesterday because we're getting ready to go to an Orca event at Mobile Solutions where we film the event and do all kinds of silly stuff, and I was like, we're just going to take the R bodies. I'm going to leave all the M stuff at home. So I was like, we need another R. So I picked up another R8, and Fernando is just dying to have a 70 to 200. He's like, because he sees I have one for my regular camera stuff, and he's like, dude, I totally want that lens. So I was like, hey, we got a 70 to 200. And my wife was like, are you insane? I'm like, hey, shh,
we need to shoot the car from way over there.
Yeah, well, it's only a 200. I mean, come on.
Well, yeah.
Oh, trust me. Like you said, there's no wrong camera. I have a gun safe, and there's no gun
of lenses.
No gun. It was the coolest thing I could find to put camera gear in.
No,
nice.
that's pretty good. That's
pretty good. I mean, so there again, not to get off stereo talk, but camera talk.
I was gonna say this is photography.
Yeah, no, but I mean that to answer his question, that's where it kind of went. So with social networking, I mean with social whatever, Facebook and stuff like that, we eventually kind of came up with how we were going to shoot the show, and it was a lot of like the first couple years we did it in the install bay. It was a lot of like trial and error, and I mean, because now we primarily just do install-based stuff. We've gotten back into doing some unboxing and some reviews just on products that I like.
Sure.
And our bringing in the reps to explain them, etc. I've seen Jeff Smith and Brian on your show and talking about all their products. So that's a good stuff.
But yeah, so we'll have them on. We'll do that, and then we do some unboxings where it's just our stuff. Which is funny you mentioned Jeff Smith because he came in today to pick up some stuff for a project that they're working on for SEMA.
Yeah.
And he's like, I gotta go. He's like, because he saw the car we're working on. He goes, well, you could be going back and do some training at the office. And he's like, I would love to. And he's like, shh. He goes, guess what they want to know? And I was like, what? And he goes, they want to know the difference between AccuBase and Epicenter. And I said, oh, they didn't watch my video, huh? He goes, actually, it's in my PowerPoint. We're all going to watch it together.
Nice. That's awesome.
I was like,
you did my job for me.
Yeah, right. Yeah. All right, ready to go.
Well, so that's basically how it went. It was like, okay, we know what we want to do, and it's just trying to figure out how to get there and film it. And now when we have a car come in that we want to film, we've dialed it back a lot because we know exactly the story we're trying to tell. And that became evident too. It was like, how do you film a car and make it interesting so that like the people are going to watch it? Because I mean, it's not that exciting, but we have to make it exciting. We have to make it, like this is fun. And we've gotten tons of feedback over the years, and we know what people like. And there's nothing more exciting than when what?
Half naked girls.
No. They don't want to see that. They want to see other people screw up.
Right.
Well,
that's it. But we know like there's nothing more exciting than like, dude, when is the next episode going to drop? It's like Thursday, like every week. It's like, I mean, Install Diaries comes out on Thursday. Review comes out on Wednesdays, and Tuesday is a recap of the Monday show, and Monday is Instagram lives all compiled.
And for all of that,
well, and I was going to ask too, like how do you balance this with the job, and how's everybody?
Do you get 4 hours a day of your workday to do photo video shit?
No, there's not. No, workday is workday. Everything else is done at home. So, yeah. So basically, what happened? No life at all. So basically what happened as we started creating more content, it became a thing, right? And we were getting calls from manufacturers like, hey, how do we get on your show? Hey, how do we do this? And it was like, okay, so this is something we have to look into. How are we going to pay for this? Because at the time I was fronting the bill. And believe it or not, it's really expensive to produce a show on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost it's kind of silly what it costs to produce this thing, and it was like I need to figure out how we're gonna pay for this because it's not cheap. So we started our own production company. That was the first thing we had to do. So Smash Force Productions came out, and that was the umbrella that encompasses everything. So like the 5-Star show is produced by us, and it has nothing to do with Paul. It's just since we started with the name, we've kind of had to keep it. We're starting to roll it back some but it's what it is. We kind of know where we're at on that one. But that production company allowed us to move into other things. So not only do we do videos, we do trainings, we get hired to do all kinds of things now, which is really cool. That has been.
Is that just all freelance then, apart from 5-Star, or? Yeah,
so 5-Star that was forming the production company officially severed us from 5-Star. So we had the two have nothing to do with one another. So like the YouTube channel is 100% solely independent from the retail side of things. It has, we share the name, but it just because it was the logo I created, because he never even had a logo. You know, it's just like, and so it's like, oh, we're going to need a logo. So,
right.
I kept my logo. But yeah, it's, so Fernando loves it because he's employed by 2 companies. He's employed by 5-Star and he's employed by Smash Force. So,
Smash Force is you then, right?
Yeah. So Smash Force is it's my production company.
Right.
But that is what creates all the content. That's who, handles all the work that we have to do for that side of things. And creating,
so have you made it a profitable thing?
For everyone else involved, yes.
Of course.
Myself, no. But I look at it as it's we never set out to do it to make any money. We just set out to do it because it was fun. And I've done enough in this industry that it's just kind of boring and mind numbing. So, we wanted to find something that, because there again, I get people that'll come to me and say, oh, I used to do this in the 80s. I used to do it in the 90s. I used to do it in the early 2000s. And then my life happened. And now my life is starting to roll back. And it's like, I miss audio and I found your channel. And it's like, now I'm buying some car audio stuff and I'm getting back into it. It's awesome. So, we looked at it as how do we get around the retailer? Because conventional marketing for 12 volt is dumb. Like it is. I don't think they understand who their customer base is half the time.
Yeah.
And they definitely don't know how to go out and get them. So we were like, okay, so what if we talk about the product, make it interesting, make it fun. And if people are watching these things or they Google them or whatever, they'll just walk in and ask for it. So the clerks will get to be clerks. And, and that was kind of our thought was, let's make this fun again. Let's make this interesting. So that's what we try to do. We try to make sure that every time we create a video, there's some form of a story there of why is this car in our install bay? Why is it here? And then we're going to take you on this journey that starts there. Like, why is it here? What are we doing? And then we're going to take you through how we do it and why we do it. Yeah. And hopefully by the end, if nothing else, you'll be entertained.
For sure. Well, and do you find, because obviously you have an opportunity in many of these cases where you're doing either product specific or vehicle specific things where there's a little bit more SEO and clickbaity type of thing going on as far as getting somebody to find you or find that video versus, how much of your following do you find is brand new just for that video to get an answer to a question versus the people that follow you on a weekly basis because they want to see what you're doing?
So the one thing we learned early on is that like most people that are looking at YouTube for car stereo stuff are just the guys like, how do I get this door panel off? Or how do I do this one feature on my radio? They're not really looking at it for entertainment. So like our unboxings and stuff like that are our clickbait, so to speak, to get people to go down the rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. So a lot of guys watch this and they'll be like, oh, that was kind of entertaining. And then they'll click on the channel and be like, oh, there's a bunch of stuff here. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then they'll start watching it and it'll be like, we'll get messages like, dude, I just spent 4 hours on your channel. And you're like, thank you.
Yeah. Well, and that's when you're doing it right, as far as having something engaging for people to keep wanting to learn more about, even if they didn't know they wanted to.
Yes, and that's just it. Most people don't know they want to watch what we're creating. That's the problem so we always laugh about it with the amount of effort that we've put into creating this whatever it is we've done. In any other genre, we would be huge.
Billions. Yeah.
Yeah. But because it's car audio, it's this little tiny box. And, so we have to work 5 times as hard to for that. And it's like,
Have you seen has there been a tangible benefit to the retail side of the store for having this out there, or does it really not affect it that much being the...
Oh no, it's 100%. I mean, the retail side of things for Paul, he loves us. That's why we get to, you mentioned we travel. That's why we get to travel. Yeah. Because, when we're there, we're booked. And when we're gone, he's just sad. But he knows when we come back, we'll be booked.
You'll have more. Yeah.
So no, it's definitely a symbiotic relationship as far as his wallet and our working goes. Mm-hmm. So as an owner, he's like, yeah, this is cool, because he doesn't have to do anything. Like
all the marketing is done.
Yeah, he has absolutely nothing to do. He just shows up and is like, hey, we're a 5-star, yay.
Do your productions bring you clients to the store? Like, I mean, do you have people come to you just because they saw you on YouTube and they're like, hey, I got to go here?
Probably about 80% of our customers are that.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I wasn't expecting that at all.
Uh-uh.
Oh yeah. Oh no. It's always weird.
So there's some value for sure.
Well, there's a lot of value.
Yes.
Just not coming my way.
Right. I was gonna say,
other than I have a job. Right. So we always have something to film. But it's always weird too. Like I don't expect anyone to, it's weird when they know, and it's weird when they don't know, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So, I'll be talking to somebody and we'll come up with whatever it is. And they'll be like, yeah, that's great. Let's do it. And they'll be like, oh, by the way, I love your show. And you're like, it's like, that was, it took all this time for you to say that? I mean, it was just kind of strange. But then you'll have the other guy that'll come in and have no idea. He just, like, maybe he was eating at Hooters across the street, or somebody told him to come in, and you're just sitting there and you're having this conversation with him, like, and you're like, I'm having too many words with this conversation. You're not getting what I'm saying. Here, go watch this YouTube video.
I know this guy. He did a video on this, and I don't want to talk it all over again.
Yeah, right. Like I had some guy come in.
Function.
Yeah, use the search, definitely. I like just last weekend I had this guy that a vendor was sent to come see us because this guy was just unhappy with who was doing his stuff. And he just couldn't get the response he wanted. It turned out he just needed an amp pro. It was like, they were using Acubase and trying to get it to work and tapping all the wrong speakers. And, I was like, this is a Ford. It's like, you need an amp pro and that'll solve all your stuff. Well, they've been trying to, I don't care. Like, I don't care what they've done.
Just start here.
You need this box right here. This is what it'll do. Just go put it in the car. Well, I don't. Okay, listen, you have two choices here. You can either buy it, do it yourself. You could buy it with three choices. You can buy it, you can pay us, or you can just go have them do it. You've paid them, go have them do it. He's like, well, I don't know. I said, they know who I am. Have them call me. I'll walk them through it. They buy stuff from us too. So it's like, just like, I get it. You're not in a happy spot, but now you're here. Here's your solution. And I was like, I just wanted to pull out my phone and type in Amp Pro Ford and go, watch.
Yeah, here it is. Yeah.
Here it is. Because that was, yep, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, as far as, like, obviously you've been installing for a very long time before branching into having a camera kind of just there, because you're not really actively being filmed. I assume you have the cameras set up where you need them as you're doing things. After installing for that long and that being your primary thing for that long, I mean, do you feel over time as the process of documenting that and presenting it for others as kind of a form of entertainment, has that changed your installation process at all? Or do you think the installation process has informed how you're the filming side of things?
I think it's both. I think it's one of those things where I've always had a core way I like to install, like that. Like, my wiring has always been my wiring. I'm known for that, but I've always been that way. I've never not gone and went too crazy. Even when I was doing the custom fab work, the other guys would try to help me, and I would watch them do it, and I'd be like, okay, stop. I'll just you guys go do something else. I don't care what. Go clean the bathroom. I'll take it from here. Right. Because it's not the way I want it to be.
Now I have to go look for examples of your wiring.
Yeah.
They have a whole Facebook page for it.
Yeah, we have
really?
Clean Wire Club.
No, I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, that's a whole nother story. That was COVID finally. Backstory. So we always wanted a Facebook group. We never know what we wanted it to be. We knew it had to be something focused around wiring because that's kind of our thing. I make the wire ruler that Brian sells from Mobile Solutions for drilling holes all lined up. Everyone with OCD is super happy. So we came up with a 12-volt clean wire club that was just like, hey, if you do clean wiring, post your pictures here. And like, it's
145,000 people later.
Yeah, like it went nuts. I have a guy so we have Fernando and this guy Clint in Australia that are the moderators, and so we have 24-hour coverage. But holy crap, man, I had no idea like this was going to get as big as it did so fast. It was really cool.
12-volt clean, 145,000 members.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah,
joining.
Yeah, so and we have fun with it. Like,
how about Pierce is in here?
What's that? Oh, Pierce.
So how about Pierce is in here?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, if he's not, I'd be surprised. But it's Pierce.
I'm scrolling. All right, yeah. I see some stuff I like.
No, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. That was also really funny too. So when you're talking about Music Car Pierce, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we made when he won the 12-volt Clean Wire Club at MasterTech, that was our event too. So we put that event on. If you didn't know that.
You put on MasterTech?
I didn't know.
The 12-volt wire challenge at MasterTech.
Right, at MasterTech. Okay, yes.
MasterTech,
I did know that. Yes.
Yeah, that was our event also. So we ran it.
Nice.
We did so we got to build the trophy. So of course it has a big 5-star logo on it. So when Pierce is there holding up his trophy with our big 5-star logo on it, I was like, yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome.
So then, we got kind of, so we made that trophy, and then Brian had us make the trophy for his guys for the build off.
Oh, cool. Nice.
And so that router trophy that the 3 guys were holding up, that was also ours.
Very cool.
So 2 of my trophies are sitting over at MasterTech. I'm sorry, are sitting over at Music Car.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, awesome. I mean, they probably took them home, but just knowing that, like,
right.
Yeah. I was like, because those guys are badass. So somebody asked me, said, if you're going to have someone build a car for you, who would you have to do it? And I was like, Tom and the boys over at Music Car.
Tom is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Those would be that would be the guys that would have to do it, because I can't afford them, but I'd still, that would be that.
Who, what?
You okay?
Didn't you do an interview with Tom?
I did an interview with Tom and
it never materialized or something.
It was, man, that was 5 or 6 years ago during K-Fest, maybe more. Right. And I forget what happened, but like we were using Dan's studio, at the store there, and 2 of the channels didn't record the whole time. So,
nice.
Yeah, we basically had a kick-ass interview that never got recorded. So
that sucks.
Bring my own.
I remember it happening, and then something happened, and then okay.
Tom's awesome, man. So in 2 weeks,
we'll have to do that again.
Yeah.
So we get to hang out with him in 2 weeks when we're up at Mobile Solutions for the Orca event.
Awesome.
So he's fun too, because he, because he'll have you do something and be like, hey, I just need you to go do this. And you're just like, oh man. Cause you just like, you don't want to let him down. It's like, I just need to go sand this thing. And you're like, oh man.
I might mess that up.
Yeah. It's like, no, you're good. You got this, man. I know you can do it. And you're just thinking, and I'm going, oh dude, he's doing me. What the hell? You got this, man. I have total faith in your ability. It's like, no. Yeah. But I don't even know where we were, but yeah, we sidejacked the hell out of that.
I think the original question was how your install process and your video process inform each other.
Yeah. So so that was the reason why I never wanted to go in the install bay, because it was like, I don't, it's not like there's a meter to which to gauge what is right and what is wrong in installation, right? So we've all seen these guys do work that, as Jeff Smith calls it, is dirty underwear, where it's like you see it from the outside, it looks great, but as soon as you It's like, oh, damn, like, pull those back up. Let's not look there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So, I mean, and there's plenty of guys that do 12 inches of Tessa tape and then it goes in the carpet and it's just naked. And it's like,
and then, bleh.
Yeah, you go, it's an insulator. It's not a pretty thing. Like, do it the opposite way. Cover it while it's under the carpet so it has something over it, So, yeah. Okay. So, yeah. But the nice thing is that, no, when it's weird when you watch what you've done and you're looking at it in real time and you're seeing it and it's like, oh, I don't like the way that turned out. And so it's like, all right, I have to change that. Or you're filming it and because when you're filming it, you have to explain what it is you're doing. So it's like you start building a process that like makes sense. And then because you're always thinking that, it's like it evolves and it becomes better just out of necessity. Because you're like, all right, I need to give these, it almost becomes a responsibility to do the best that you can do because somebody's watching this and like, they're going to do it that way maybe. And you don't want to give them bad advice, that keeps me up at night. It's like, oh no, we gotta make sure we get everything perfect. But the one thing is like,
you're almost training at that point. It's like you're doing a training on every build.
Yeah. Well, and so the funny thing is obviously there's a lot that we don't film just because, it's repetitive stuff or we've already got it or we're just like, we need to turn stuff out. And, the customer was, oh, did you film it? I said, no, I didn't film it. Which is why we started doing Instagram lives because that's the best that we can give them. Like we can do an Instagram live. They can show their friends, look, here's my car getting worked on. Yay. And it's like,
okay,
there's that. But it's always like some guys will come and they'll have us do a car just so they can see if what we do on the video is what they're going to get. I've had guys, I've pulled down, the seat or slid the seat out of the way to show them the amp rack. And they're like, you didn't film this? I'm like, no. Oh, wow. And you still did this. And I was like, that's why you came here. Like, yeah, it's whether the camera's on or off, you're getting the same install.
Right.
So
I think it's fascinating that you are stepping or that you want to do the normal stuff and you don't want to do the custom stuff. I know some other installers who are the same now. Like a good friend of mine is an installer and he's like, I'm done doing custom stuff. I just stock locations, we'll make things work. We do the integration stuff. But as far as, a full custom SQ trunk and all that. And he's like, nope, I'm just done with it.
Well, okay, so paint this picture for a second. So let's say a brand new 2022 Toyota Corolla, Toyota Camry rolls in, right? Nothing's going to fit that car. Yep. There is not a speaker that is just going to drop into that. Maybe some Focal plug and play.
Okay. Yeah.
But they're not buying those. Right. They're buying something better. And so now I have to fit a tweeter where a tweeter isn't going to fit. The brackets are universal. They might be too thick, so I got to make a new bracket. We have a laser, and that laser gets the shit used out of it because, and it makes tweeter brackets, mid-range brackets. It's just all it does all day long is make speaker brackets and little USB plates and odd little things that make the installation go better. Like I always laugh. The things you can do with the laser is insanity. It'll cut to like a 32nd of an inch. Which is neat because you can, like, if you get a tweeter that has all these little things that stick out of it that are designed to snap into something, but the tweeter you're putting in, a lot of people might just put tape on it or a zip tie or foam or a little bit of glue or something like that. We don't have to do that. We can cut a piece out on a laser and it'll go around the speaker like a glove, almost like shrink wrap with teeth, and it'll just pop right into place. And you're like, there we go. We're done. And no glue.
So that is still pretty custom stuff. If you're lasering out your own little brackets and everything. That's not just popping speakers out and popping speakers in.
Correct. So we don't and that's the thing. That's where we do our custom. Everything that, like, when we're done with the car, it's going to look factory. You're not going to see anything. But the stuff we've done behind the scenes, oh my gosh, like, we're just finishing up an SC430, which has become one of our cars because we did a video on it, and I absolutely hate the car with every fiber of my being. But people bring them to us because we've done the video. We know how to work on them. They know what they're going to get. And like all the little things that we have to do to this car to make, because we've learned, because we've done so many of them. The guy goes, I don't like that. You're like, oh, okay. All right, how are we going to fix that? It's like just making a bracket to get this stupid speaker to fit inside of the factory location. It's like you got 2 hours in this stupid little bracket. Granted, I'll never need to spend that 2 hours again.
Right.
But it's still
right.
Like,
you've got it once.
And it's funny too. I do enjoy doing design and laser work because you're just sitting there by the laptop, and it's like you spend an hour designing something as opposed to over at a router going and just praying to God it's the right thing. Now you just cut it out of cardboard, put it on there, doesn't fit, draw a couple lines on it, go back over, adjust it, cut out another one. It's like
there it is.
Just I made a simple bass knob mount for a guy with a Chevy the other day, and I was like, it's a big open area, so I put a GMC logo on it and put a ring around it, made it look as factory as I could. And I don't think he cared about anything else we did in the car. He just saw that and was just like, how'd you get the logo on there? I was like,
nice.
I just scratched it in some tape. No, he didn't. Yeah. But I mean, those are the things that we do. And it's still, I mean, the other thing too is we do a lot of DSP. So we're all our vendors love us because we're the one shop that is like, you're selling DSP. We're like, yes, we're selling DSP. Like, please buy a DSP. Everyone should, like, I don't.
If you want the car to sound like a proper car, you've got to use DSP.
Well, it's not even if you want it to sound like a proper car, because I don't know what that is. But I always tell them, if I get in there and you don't like the way it sounds, if you just have bass, mid, and treble, I can't help you.
You can change it.
You go, boop, 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 boop. Oh, that didn't do it? Oh, all right, bye. Sorry. Whereas if I have a DSP, I can figure out whatever you're trying to tell me, and I can get it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Right.
That's
half the thing with even, I mean, people who know what they want can't express it
right
a lot of times. But you sit them down in the car and like, okay, tell me, what are you hearing? What don't you like? What do you like? What is it? I mean, but you can, I don't know. You can tailor the sound to their needs and understand what they want better, I guess.
So have you ever been to an optometrist?
Really poor way of saying all that, but
yeah. Have you ever been to an optometrist? Where they test your eyes, and the eye doctor goes better or worse, better or worse. So you've been blessed with perfect vision, not me. So when you go for an eye exam,
so yes, sorry,
yeah. So I'm not that cool.
Yeah,
I'm broken. So they'll put the thing in front of your face, and they'll be like, okay, here's your old prescription, and then they'll just start flipping things and going, is this better or worse? Better or worse? Can you read the numbers better? Is it cleaner? Is it blurry? And so. Having that done, I had this one. Fernando sold this system. These guys came in and they're just like, I want the best. And he's like, the best? And he's like, okay, I want really, really, really good. And so he ended up with a K2 system, a Focal K2 system. A bunch of power. It's all active, just killing it. And we get done tuning it. I never met the customer. I had no idea what they wanted. He was so excited that he sold the system. We got it all tuned up. I go out to the guy, and this is the first time I met him. We listened to it, and he goes, yeah, that sounds really good. Now can we make it sound the way I want it? And I was like, okay, what do you want? He goes, I want island sound, man. This is not island sound. I'm like, I don't even know what the hell island sound is, bro. So
island sound.
And he's got his buddy there with him. He goes, yeah, man, island sound, man. This is white boy stuff. And I'm like, yeah. Go figure. So I had to grab the laptop. I sat in the back of the car. We took it, like 2.5 hours, better or worse, one or two, and we finally got it to island sound. And they were like, that's island sound. And I was like, that's awesome. He goes, now you know what island sound sounds like. And I go, I wish I didn't.
So now you have to tell us, what is island sound?
Exactly what you think it would sound like. It's just way too much of everything that you don't want. to just grab 315 and grab 315, grab 3.15, all the bad frequencies, 500,
everything you don't want,
1,000 hertz, take them to the ceiling.
If it hurts, it's good.
Okay. Yeah. I tried not to do any loudspeakers just because we're not those guys. Like, I can't put 27 pairs of speakers in your car, so like we just do regular speakers and stuff. But every now and then I'll get a guy that's like, dude, I have to have these horn tweeters. I'm just like, ugh. He goes, but you can put a DSP in. I said, all right, well, if you can put a DSP in, we'll do these speakers. But it's weird because I know when I've gotten it right, because they make a sound that just literally makes me nauseous. It almost gives me like motion sickness. And I was like, as soon as I hit that, I'm like, they're going to love it. Because I had I didn't know how to tune those things. I had no idea how to tune these. I had a buddy of mine come in and he's like, he starts screwing with the car and he goes, all right, go listen to that. That's what it needs to sound like when you're done. And I was like, why? Why would you do that to someone?
So all 2K.
Yeah.
Right.
And so
you're talking bullet tweeters, right?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Bullets.
Like, okay. Yeah. Make sure we're talking the right thing.
Yeah, we call them louds. I call them speaker by the pound. Because most people come in and buy, they're walking out with 12 pairs of speakers.
Yeah, it's not how many watts; it's how many pounds.
How many pounds?
So obviously, you've been doing this majority of your life. What's the, I guess, coolest or most unexpected thing that you've got to do yourself because of this journey in car audio you've had that you wouldn't have expected to get to do otherwise?
So obviously creating the YouTube channel, doing all that was a door that we never thought we would open. And because of it, we've had the ability, we've had the pleasure or honor or whatever you want to call it of getting asked to do some really neat stuff.
Okay.
Ground Zero, HKI reached out to me and they were going to Emma World Finals in Austria.
Yeah.
And they needed somebody to film it.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was like, I didn't even have a passport at the time. I just said yes. I have a habit of doing that, right? As everyone tells me. You always just say yes. I go, why wouldn't I?
Why not?
I mean, it's got us pretty far into this. So, like I got a passport like 2 weeks expedited. I didn't care. I was like, I don't care what it takes. Just give me this.
Just do it.
Yeah, just do it. So, got to hang out with Doug Dobson and Tommy Spears and over across the pond there, as it were. This year we do a lot of work with JVC in Kenwood, more JVC. But there's this weird event that Best Buy does where they bring all like a huge quantity of employees to an event where they just have like this big party. But one day out of that party, they set up like a mini consumer electronics show. Okay. And these guys just have to walk around and go to all these booths. It makes absolutely no sense. And like Samsung builds a house inside of there.
Oh my!
It's like walking around in there. I was like, this is for 4 hours. Like it makes Knowledge Fest look like a playground. Wow. I mean, so as soon as I found out, someone had described it to me, and then because JVC is still a partner with Best Buy, and they were like, yeah, we're going to do this. I was like, we have to come. And they're like, why? I said, I don't care. We'll do anything. I want to be there. Yeah, I just want to be there. I got to see this. And so, we talked with some of the guys and with the guy that handles the account, and they were like, yeah, we want you to come. And we're like, cool. And got to go out to eat with the buyer at Best Buy that runs the 12 volt. And that was great. Had a fun time talking with her, and just did this event that made absolutely no sense at all. And it was so much fun.
Be there.
Yeah. I was just, because it was like, I can't believe this is so insane.
It's real. It really does exist.
Yeah, exactly. But but no, we get asked to do some stuff. Like I got to go Automobility out of Canada asked me to come up and do the CMA last year or this year. So we've got to go up to Canada and hang out there for a couple days and teach classes. That was funny because the guy that hired me to come up is like, you're coming. It's like, I don't care. We're going to get you up there. But all the higher ups had no idea who I was. Okay. And like, why did we bring this guy from America up here to do this? And they're like, he's like, trust me, go to his class on, whatever day it was.
Yeah.
And, they're like, okay, fine. So I go into the class and dude, it is packed. It is standing room only. I was so overwhelmed. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. Like all these guys came here to learn whatever it is I have to say. And there's like people lining up out in the hallway. Ben Wu is just losing. He's like, this is awesome. Like, yeah, and so they're in the crowd and they're just seeing this. And they were like, holy crap. Like, who did we bring here? And I said to the class, I was like, how y'all feel about cussing? Because I know that's one of those things. And the guy he drops the F-bomb. It's Canada, eh?
Do what you want.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, cool. So, we had a fun class. I did find out they don't raise their hands.
They just
when you ask a question, nobody raises their hands. I was like,
they don't say anything, or did they just?
No, they don't. Okay. And you're just like, so does anybody? And there's nobody. I was like, seriously, nobody in this room. And one guy would be like, no, I did it. I was like, well, then why didn't you raise your hand? So then I had to do like a round table later that night, and I asked a question, not remembering, and then as soon as nobody raised their hand, I go, oh, I'm just gonna. And I said, all right, let me rephrase this. If you've ever had this happen, keep your hands in your laps.
It just
so all of you,
right?
Yeah. But
just don't move. Don't move. Whatever you do.
Nobody move. Yeah. And they, but no, it's fun. I always like to say we just see where the year goes and see where we're gonna how it's gonna fall apart. And we're going to SEMA this year. We're gonna hang out with Rockford. They have a couple new product announcements they want us to do, which will be really fun. We've been there the last 2 years. We went with Audio Control, which was a lot of fun. We got to go while they still owned it, and then the year after they sold it to Amp.
Right.
So that was an interesting time.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of neat things because of what we do, and we just wait to see what's going to happen next year.
So being that you've been in the industry for so long, especially kind of in similar regions, similar job overall, you've tacked on the YouTube thing to a certain degree, and that's not really something that you can really explain to somebody how to do themselves, because you kind of have to find your way in that, I think.
Yeah.
But as far as for somebody who is coming into the industry, whether as an installer or in the industry, especially, you're very involved on a lot of different levels, probably more so than most people, just because the people you talk to and what you do with the YouTube channel and everything layered on top of your day job. What kind of advice would you give to somebody who is just wanting to be part of the industry in any way, shape, or form?
It's funny that is a tough question, because we know that we need bodies. Like, we know we need more installers, we need more sales guys, and it's always interesting to see where they're going to come from. When I said earlier we hired Fernando, I needed somebody that just had like some form of a passion for this, and I could get him where he needed to be. I know how to train him. And Paul had enough foresight to be like, okay, I'll take this guy that doesn't really know enough. He can't stand on his own 2 feet, but I'm going to trust you in your decision to do this. I wish there was more owners like that. Like, yeah. I wish there was more owners that, that would do that. MECP is still a thing. Chris Beulah runs that program. Now it's all on your phone, which is amazing. So it's a really great place for somebody to get some of the knowledge, at least, they have the basic or not. It's called something new now. Just to get an idea of what it's like. But, I I guess the thing I'd say is if this is something you really want to do, don't plan on getting rich because it's not going to happen.
Step one.
Step one is don't plan on getting rich.
Yeah.
Step two is, this is a lot of the guys in this industry are just all these type A guys. Like we're all gunslingers and humility isn't always there. Some guys are just kind of jerks. I guess if you want to do this, find somebody to kind of take you under your wing or watch a bunch of videos or I don't know. It's such a hard thing to give somebody advice to do this. People always ask me like, what do you think of this product? What do you think of that product? And I go, what does it matter? Are you going to buy it? So you're going to buy it because you're interested in car audio? If you are, buy it, put it in your car. Eventually you'll get to the point where you'll be like, I need something better, but I just want you to be in car audio. I don't care what you're using. Just put it in there so that, you can get hooked. That's the hook. It's like, you bought that brand. Ha ha, I gotcha. You're in car audio now, boy.
I guess to phrase that maybe a little bit differently, is there anything you would have done differently yourself over the years if you had the chance?
My mom would have liked me to stay in college and finish my architecture degree. Now she kind of sits there and goes, you did okay. I still give her shit about that one. I guess for me, when I look back at myself, like my whole first 20 years was very closed in. Like the owner didn't want us to venture out. He was one of those guys who was like, oh no, you don't need to go to a knowledge fest. No, you don't need to go to that training. You just stay here. You can learn everything you need to learn right here. And it's like, no, that doesn't work. Now I see that, and it's like, now we go to any event we can, that whether we're going to learn or not, just to get out there and meet people and the whole experience, which I think is probably the most important thing. Like if you can go to a Master Tech, if you can go to a fest, if you can go to a show or anything like that, you got to pay to play now, and it's totally worth it. And that, looking back, the first 20 years, I never got to do that. And, when I went to my first Knowledge Fest, Dallas, I don't know, whatever, I can't remember what year it was, but it wasn't that long ago. And we were just, Fernando and I were just sitting there like, oh my God. And in my head, I'm going, why have I not been to this before? This is the most amazing thing ever. Just meeting all these people and going to these classes. And it's like, it's funny because like I found out about this podcast because I was listening to the podcast you did with Andy Waymeyer.
Yeah.
And I was like, I get to meet that guy. Now he picks on me because I don't like frogs. So, it's like, that's so cool, and I know I can call him and be like, hey, Andy, let me ask you this question. But and that's what it does, so I think if anything, if you're getting into this industry and if your owner doesn't support things like going to one of these events, then you probably need to find a better owner, because you're not going to get where you need to be living in that bubble. You have to get out. You have to do things. You have to meet people. Yeah,
learning from as many people as you can in the industry versus a single source of,
Yeah, I mean, you have to build your, and that's the thing. Like I look at it and it's like the people I know that I can call when I have a problem, they're all over the country, and that's great, Whereas when I first started, it was like, I have a problem, I got to send a tech support for 4 hours. Pray to God that the guy that answers the phone knows.
Hopefully something more than you.
Yeah. Which most of the time they do, but
right.
It's just,
you still have to hope it.
Yeah. Cause it's like, I always like getting that one where the guy goes, oh, we've never had that problem before. Really? Never? I'm the first guy.
Yeah. And then you're like, either I'm very unique or you're lying to me.
Okay, so I did have that problem once, and I called iData, and I called my guy at iData, and he goes, no, we've never had this problem before. You are literally doing the first one of these. because I'm looking at the logs and we've never done this car before. No one's ever flashed for this car. I go, oh, okay, cool. All right, well, it doesn't work. I did
something.
Yeah.
So last question, at least for me. I don't know if Ben has anything more, but last question for me. You have a plethora of things out there as far as yourself being able to communicate to a wide audience of people. So this isn't that big of opportunity for you as far as that goes. But is there anything that we need to know about Dean that Dean hasn't talked about before?
So that I haven't talked about before ever?
Well, I mean, as far as maybe the majority of people wouldn't know.
Believe it or not, I'm an introvert. I don't, a lot of people think just because I do this, it's like, and I know a lot of people see me in public and they're just like, oh yeah. It's like, no, I'm not. I keep to myself. I don't typically, but the problem is I really enjoy it. So it's like that duality of things where it's like, you put me in a group of people and I can't help myself. But for the most part, I like to just like, I'm going to be over here in the back, where no one is going to notice me.
I find too, I mean, like I'm the same way. And I think for me, it was kind of a similar thing where by like being in charge of the events, by having the podcast, I'm able to build those relationships person by person. So then I have a familiarity with them when I get in that, scenario where you're surrounded by those people. Whereas if I was to go straight from zero to in the middle of those people, I would be freaking out. So,
that's the thing now is that unlike for me, that scenario, I love it. Like if you're just going to if you're going to drop me into a group of people, oh, here we go. This is going to be fun.
Okay.
But I'm not that guy. Like I need an iced tea. So I need some sugar and caffeine, as the girls will tell me, oh, you're on caffeine. You drank an iced tea today. And I'll be like, oh yeah, game on.
Bring it.
Yeah, let's do this. Yeah. But no, I there again, and I'm a big Star Wars fan. I mean, that's really about it. That's I mean, the thing is it's one thing we learned early on is it's really hard to, you can't have a fake personality, right? You got to be honest. You got to be real. We're going to meet people all over the place. And it always blows my mind when someone comes up to me and says, oh my God, you're Dean from 5 Star. And I'm like, yeah, hey, how you doing? Like, we were at Disney. Like I was at Disney with Ada not too long ago. And that happened. And luckily Haley was standing there because I was like, there has to be somebody here to witness this. Yeah.
Right. Somebody out of the blue knew who I was at Disney World.
Dude, we walked into IHOP one night.
She's going to think that's cool or creepy.
Oh, no, she hates it because they're like, why didn't they recognize me? Be like, oh, slow down, killer. We walked into IHOP one night and the dude turns around and goes, holy shit. And I was like, hey. And he goes, oh my God, dude, this is Dean from 5 Star. And I was like, hi. He's like, we're just driving through town, man. Like, unbelievable. I was in a Buc-ee's. I was wearing an I Data shirt, and the guy walks up and goes, dude, I know that shirt. You're Dean from 5 Star. So Jeff Smith has the I Am Jeff Smith shirt, or I know the Jeff Smith, which we created for him. And he's like, dude, he goes, this is the weirdest thing, Dean. I was walking through an airport, and how you walk, guys are going left, guys are going right. Everyone's standing on their appropriate side of the airport. He goes, this guy jumped across the airport and goes, dude, I have that shirt. And he goes, I don't even know if he knew it was me, but he just wanted to tell me.
He knew he had the shirt. Don't know who Jeff Smith is, but
dude, I got that shirt. Jeff Smith is awesome. He's like, I know.
I think he's pretty cool too.
Yeah, he's a pretty nice guy. He's not too bad.
Well, Dean, I appreciate everything you do. I mean, I know it's a lot of labor of love, even though people think that it's it's all glitz and glam and money just falls from the skies. But yeah, it's a lot of work, and I know you guys have helped a whole lot of people that you probably will never meet or ever hear from or anything else. Just clicked on video and got the help, and I know they've been there for me a couple times. So it's awesome. It's really awesome what you've done over the years, and we appreciate it.
No, we love
one more thing.
I'm thankful. Yes, give it to me, Ben.
As Apple said one year, one more thing.
Yeah.
So preface here, the first year we did a question after the interview, and I asked everybody the same question just because it was a thing. The first year the question was, what do you think of high res music, right? Or something to that effect. So this year, I'm just curious. You said that you install a lot of DSPs. Mm-hmm. So you may or may not be familiar with dynamic EQ, and I'm curious if you know, or what's your opinion? Does dynamic EQ have a place in what you do with car audio?
Actually, it's funny you mention that because dynamic EQ is one of the up and coming technologies that I am really excited about. We also just call it loudness if we want to be basic. So
you just pissed a lot of people off.
Oh boy.
Hey man, I'm being honest. We just call it what it is. So no, dynamic EQ. Yeah. So as time moves forward, I think more and more DSP manufacturers and end users, once they figure out their DSPs have dynamic EQ, will really get on board with it, especially as a retailer, because what it can do for you in saving blown speakers and or making it more exciting at lower levels or higher levels is pretty impressive. Like I was talking, we got hired we do a lot with Orca, which is Focal Mosconi Gladen. And of course they have the new Barney and they have all the new software, and I'm totally digging into it. I'm loving it. It's badass. And Sage is like, well, it has dynamic EQ. All you have to do is do this. And I'm like, thanks, Sage. Thanks. And so I was talking to some motorcycle guys, and I'm like, hey man, you can get one of these little DSPs that is like the size of a pack of cigarettes, and it's got dynamic EQ, and they just look at you. What are you talking about? I'm like, so when your motorcycle guys crank that stuff up and it just goes to the floor. I said, if you apply dynamic EQ to that, you can remove all of that energy that is just not being produced, and they won't blow those speakers. And they're just looking at you like you're insane. And you're like, yeah, it's pretty awesome. We built a system that had way too much power for a guy because he just fell in love with these amplifiers. And, the first day he went out and he played it, and he comes back and he's like, bro, as much as I hate it, these mid bass are just going to destroy themselves. I was like, oh, we can fix that. We have dynamic EQ adjustment. And he's like, what is that? And I was like, watch. So we sat in the car and I just started playing with it. And I was like, tell me when tell me when you're happy. And he was like, I'm happy. And he's like, oh my God. And he sat there and turned it up and down. And it was like, it would be there. And he was like, oh, this is magical. And I was like, I know. All right, I got to go back to it, So, no,
that was the best sales pitch for dynamic EQ I've ever heard.
Yeah. Well, that's what I get hired to do, man. I mean,
you're not a sales guy. You told us that immediately.
Yeah,
right? First off.
I am. But no, so in there again, like a lot of people, like for me, when I drive, I don't listen to stereo very loud. I keep it quiet. It's just background noise. But most of the time, it's not that exciting.
As an installer, that's how you usually is. Yes.
Yeah. So adding dynamic EQ in there, I can add some boost. Oh my God, we can't say that. To make it more enjoyable at those listening levels that I want. So yeah, I have no problem. I think it's a great feature. I'm hoping it will start to transition its way down to more
some excellent use cases.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Because it'll save a lot. So DSP is a funny one because it's like, what makes a DSP a DSP? I classify it as four things. You have channel. You have to have level control for each channel. You have to have time alignment. You have to have EQ for each channel. And you have to have crossover for each channel. And those are the four things that pretty much every DSP manufacturer has settled on. And it's like, well, we're going to add an input mixer. Ooh, oh, now we got to add all pass filter adjustment. Like that's the big one, right? Everything's got to have an all pass filter adjustment. But it's like, for me, I go, can I get a high shelf or a low shelf?
Buzzword.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I want shelf filters. Like, to me, I'm just like, could you put a shelf filter in here? Like, why? I said, well, because when this is controls. Yeah, and notch filters are wonderful. And it's like, people just don't use these things. And it's like, why? They're there. They're tools. They do what they're supposed to. But again, I like to explain when I sell products or recommend products, they're just tools to give you what you're looking for, right? I don't necessarily, I'm not brand guy. You have a problem. These are the things that are going to fix it. So buy this stuff.
Yeah. Whatever the tool is, this is it.
Yes. Yeah. So, but no, to answer your question, dynamic EQ, big fan.
I was not expecting all that. I'm blown away. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Thank you, Dean. Appreciate all this. It's been fun.
On that note, I'm all excited now. I'm pumped up, and I gotta go to bed. So. Yeah. Well, thank you, Dean. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, guys, for having me on, man.
How about the ones we especially like? Which ones? You know, the ones with the cars that go, I hear you. Hit it.